Good morning and g'day, mate. Welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and we have Mr. Icarus here. And today's episode, we're working on some oil products. But before we get to the oil products, we need to talk about yesterday's episode. Yesterday's episode, we went and set up just a few cannons launching at our sun, and as you can see, we've added just a few sails around the sun. It's doing great. At the same time, we have upped the power production by not only having our lovely ring here, but also throwing up some sails into the orbit. So we've started We've started pulling power out of our Dyson Sphere. Dyson Ring and Dyson Swarm, and converting that into where's the recipe? I don't even think I can see the recipe. No, I'm pretty sure I can't see the recipe. We've been splitting the critical photons we get out of the Dyson Sphere via the ray receivers into antimatter and hydrogen. Hydrogen we're obviously burning off because it's one of those super useful ingredients. And the antimatter we're saving up. We're saving up for a number of things. One, we're going to need antimatter fuel rods. The other thing we're going to need is very, 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 very soon, we're going to be researching the universal matrix, which also requires antimatter. Which means you need to have some sort of Dyson Sphere up and running. Because this is endgame. So yes, we have some things we need to do. But today we're staying on top of oil because we need to do something about our overall oil production. Okay. Let's take 3 steps backwards and explain the end goal. So the end of this week, I hope to do a few things. I hope to delete our current ring. Well, not delete it. Delete parts of our ring and rebuild it into something fine, something marvelous, something that's going to take us through to the next step. Generate a little bit more power. At the same time, stretch our design skills and draw something that we can be proud of in the sky. At the same time, to do that, I need to have many, many rockets. Currently, we have our current sphere. Our current ring, I'm pretty sure I have a rocket cell up here. Yes, I do. Our current ring cost us 5,000 rockets. I want to have at least 10,000, okay? Just so whatever I design next, it can get built fairly quickly, okay? That's the plan, that's the goal. But to do that, we need to have rockets. So, going back to rockets, which are at the opposite end of the planet, because, yes, that's just where they happen to be, we built... Rockets. This way a bit further. This way a bit further. Little bit further. Haha! Rockets. Okay. We have 797 rockets here, and we have who knows how many on Westernhusen. Basically, I want to make sure that the point I have over 1,000 here means Westernhusen is full, which means it has 10,000 rockets. Rockets require 3 things. They require Dyson Sphere components, they require Deuterium fuel rods, and they also require quantum chips. Okay, Deuterium fuel rods, it looks to be okay. Quantum chips are great, and Dyson Sphere components are made right here. Dyson Sphere components require frame material, solar cells, and processors. If we look at the 3 belts feeding in, we can see processors are great, cells are great, and the Dyson, the frame material is definitely lacking. If we follow the frame material belt back to the frame material production line, when we look at its belts, it requires carbon nanotubes, plus it requires some titanium alloy, plus it requires some high purity silicon. And as we scroll back along this production line, funnily enough, they're all actually running, but they're running only because my carbon nanotube system... Nanotubes come in, nanotubes go straight back out, go all the way along the whole build, up to the end, wrap, and then come all the way back down and back into the tower. I've made basically a giant loop of carbon nanotubes, and I'm actually importing them. I'm importing them from our existing horrible little crappy build. Our crappy little build, if it gets any spare in here, it will import them from here over to here so we can make some more frame material. Yep, all the frame material is now dead. Reason it's dead is because it needs spiniform staglamite crystals. Spiniform staglamite crystals come from... We zoom out, and we zoom out, and we zoom out, and we zoom out. They come from... I'm going to say... Haha! Coffee. They come from coffee. They come from coffee 1, coffee 2, coffee 2. They come from coffee 2, which is one of these brand new ocean type planets. The place where you get actually the most spiniform is, we have one over here. It is 32 Leporis. It's been marked as a water world because it has a water world right here. This planet will have a few million spiniform on it. Our issue is not so much having spiniform, it's mining it fast enough, okay? So I need to go and find more spiniform, put more miners on it. A lot more miners. In fact, this is designed to use 30 per second, so I need to be able to have at least 30 per second being mined out of the ground. So, going back 3 steps. To get 10,000 rockets. 10,000 rockets, I'm going to need 20,000 Dyson Sphere components. To get 20,000 Dyson Sphere components, I'm going to need 60,000 frame material. To get 60,000 frame material, each one needs 4 nanotubes, which means I need, what's that? 240,000 nanotubes. To get nanotubes, recipes, I need 1 for 1. So I only need 250,000 spiniform to get the rocket numbers I need to then launch the rockets to then redo the sphere. Yes, that's the issue that we're at. On top of that, a water world is, well, like this, except has a lot more water. Like, it's all water. So I need to get power there. I need to get a substantial amount of power over there. So my choices for moving power from planet to planet, it's fairly slim, actually. My choices are, we can use accumulators. I could charge up some accumulators here, fly them over there, discharge them. It works. It works. It's an okay system. It's not super great. It's not super bad. It just works, okay? My second option is artificial suns. Artificial suns burn antimatter fuel rods. Remember how we set up antimatter in the last episode? Yeah. So that would be a good option as well. But to get more antimatter, I need more power out of my sun to get more ray receivers to consume to receive the power from the sun faster, to then split it into antimatter to then make antimatter fuel rods. You can see where we're you know, there's a giant ring of things that we need to work on. So we're going to actually start today with oil. The reason I'm doing oil is currently, oil is only used for plastic. That is its only use, okay? And plastic is only used for particle broadband. Particle broadband, there we go, it's another research. Particle broadband is only used for the information matrix and also for the assembly machine Mark III. So we don't need a lot of plastic. We do need a fair bit of plastic, but not a lot of plastic. So my plan is to build a bumper oil build, okay? Bumper oil build to make a bumper plastic build, and that way I don't have to worry about plastic on this planet ever again. At the same time, we can take our excess hydrogen and build a new one of these, a new deuterium processing facility, because my deuterium levels, this did have 10,000 deuterium fuel rods in here. We've since flown all of them over here. This is going down. It's going down. At least after this problem has been fixed, this is going to go down very, very quickly. I'm going to need, for 10,000 rockets, I need 40,000 deuterium fuel rods. Yeah, I need to fix that as well. So, if we have a really, really good oil build, making a lot of extra hydrogen, I can convert a lot of that into deuterium. If I have a lot of extra deuterium, then I should solve multiple problems at once. So, we're going to build an oil build. The oil build that means we never have to worry about oil ever again. So at the moment I have all the oil builds. They're coming in here and they're being processed in our current refinery build. And our refinery build is doing pretty good. In fact, it's actually backed up on refined oil. Okay, we have too much refined oil, which is fine because refined oil is going to turn to plastic ever so slowly, because plastic, it takes a little while to craft. Actually, no, plastic's backed up. We have too much plastic, which is probably a good sign. Also means that I could take that refined oil and I could be burning it off. Now, we don't have a power issue yet, but I also mentioned that I need to make artificial suns, and one of the ingredients for the artificial suns is the annihilation constraint sphere. The annihilation constraint sphere takes 20 seconds to craft, which means you need a lot of assemblers to make a lot of them. Animated fuel rods also needs annihilation constraint spheres. So we need a lot of assemblers to make a lot of constraint spheres to have a lot of constraint spheres to then... Yeah, you see where we're going with this. So I need to have more power probably and an oil build fixed. So that's exactly today's plan. Today's plan is going to be grabbing a whole bunch of belts, a whole bunch of refineries. In fact, I want to be able to process a full belt of refineries at all times. So I want 20, 40, 60, 60, 30. I want 30 chemical plants, I want to say. And refineries, 20, 40, 60. Yep. Belt, all of that. We're going to drop that off. We're going to grab more sorters, more belt. At the same time... No, I can't physically dump stuff in there from here. We'll just clean our inventory out of stuff. And yes, we have, after we've finished off mining all the copper on the planet, I still have a lot of tidying up to do. Tidying up is one of the things I want to get to this week. Just go through and fine-tune a lot of things. We can see that that one's almost... Oh, it's only got one miner running. It's got that one miner running. Okay, fine. We'll fix that up later. Anyway, on to the oil problem. So the oil problem... should be fairly easy, I hope. What we're going to do is currently we have all the oil pops in, either flown to this tower and comes out this belt and is side loaded, or flows directly into this main belt. So my plan is, not right away, we'll do it in a second, my plan is to take all the oil out of this building and run our refineries from there. Yeah? Yeah, it's going to be a fairly big build, because this is 24 refineries, and we want to build 60. Yeah, it's significant in size. Maybe I can get 2 rows of 30. Let's just build 60. Let's build 60. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly over here first. Actually, we're going to look at where the grid lines are on the planet. We have a grid shift line right here. Okay, so in that case we will take this belt and just move it completely out of our way. Done. Remove that belt, remove everything between there and there. Burn whatever we can. We're going to making a mess during this episode. How much foundation? I have plenty. Okay, so we're going to start off with an oil build. A oil build to rival all oil builds. 10,000 landfill. We're going to use up all that in not much time at all. Sure. And then build the foundation that back. Get that little section. Hopefully that works. Okay. Alright, so first things first. We're going to bring oil out the top. And I just need to run a belt along to there. Okay. Second thing we're going to do is run a second belt and a third belt. We're going to set up the refineries basically the exact same as we did previously with a refinery, input, output for hydrogen, output for refined oil, set the recipe, and then I do want to look at, let's start here, minus, 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 minus. Okay, I do want to look at having a little gap between them so we can get some power poles in the middle, because that would be brilliant. That's the build. Okay, delete. Okay, so we want to go from here. That's as close to one another as possible. Actually, let's start with that. Can I get a power pole between? Never mind, I can. Okay, so that solves that problem. Alright, so that's 15. From 15, we need to build So I need to double that and double that again. To there. Plus to there. Plus to there. Alright, grab a refinery. Move it along. And then drag it out. I don't mind if it doesn't have sorters on it. We can place sorters after the fact by just dragging over the top. That's 45. And I bet 60 is going to end up right in front of those wind turbines, roughly. Almost. Okay, so I need to add 2 more. Not quite enough foundation. Okay, so that's the plan. That'll get us oil to here, which means that oil belt stops. These 2 belts also stop. From there, we're going to put in a splitter and a splitter. Okay, we're going to take our refined oil that way and our hydrogen. We have a straight belt, please. Thank you. Our hydrogen that way. Okay, after we have refined oil, refined oil, actually, no. Storage. Tanks. Tanks. That building? No. That building. 50 tanks. Cool. 50 tanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to store up the material first. All the storage solutions. Okay. Then, after it goes into storage, then we're going to put in a splitter. And this will give us control over flow. So we can say, hey, go here first, here second, here third. So on and so forth. Alright. And then the next thing we're going to want is we're going to want a chemical plant. So, do I have... I don't think I brought those with me. I did. There we go. Chemical plant. Chemical plant to make plastic. So, plastic is refined oil plus energetic graphene equals plastic. Alright? And I have room behind here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to bring... Let's bring the plastic that way, which means the graphene that way. And again, we'll just drag out these belts as we go. Go away, solar panels. Yeah, that's going that direction. The other one's going the other direction. I should probably just stop dragging belts and confirm how many machines we actually need. How many machines do we need? Okay, so plastic requires 3 seconds for one, which means to get a full belt's worth, I'm going to need 3 times the crafting speed of the machine. Chem plants run a crafting speed of 1, so if each plastic takes 3 seconds, it means I need 90 machines. Cool. We would need 90 machines to make a full belt of plastic. I don't need a full belt of plastic, so that's something. So that's our output. That's an input as well. And then same story, we're just going to drag. And we can say that's 15 machines. Like I said, the sorters don't matter. We're just going to place, after all the belts are done, we will place belts over the top again. So that goes that way. That goes that way, and I think I got that around the wrong way. That goes out. That goes in. Okay, so that's our plastic line. That's our refined oil line, which we're going to bring all the way up, and that is going to be slot number 2, which shall be the refined carbon. That one. Ships. You've already got big ships, but you don't have little shippies. Let's grab you some little shippies out of that tower. Yoink. Cool. You're done and ready to go. We're going to set that to 100, just in case I've made any mistakes, and you should be good to go. Alright, as for chemical plants... there to collide with object. Almost. That would be another full set of 15. Okay. There's not quite enough room. So we need to start from this end and go that direction. Okay, so that's 15. Delete, 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 delete. Copy, delete. And that's our second lot of 15. So that's 30. Okay. And if we put in some power poles so we can actually see what things are doing. You guys need power poles there. Yes. And we can see that that is input, output, input. Okay. Alright, so let me go all the way back to the... Come on. Come on, Icarus. All the way back to the start. And put in, you know, some of these buildings that have, like, you know, outlines and nothing else. Along with a lot of power poles. And I'll see you guys in just a second. Yes. Alright, so all the refineries are up and running. All the chemical plants are up and running. We are instantly storing our refined oil, a lot of it, and also storing our hydrogen. So this should be a full belt, a full blue belt of refined oil. And the fact that every single refinery is running, that means that is exactly correct. So that is a full belt of oil going in and a full belt of refined oil coming out, along with a half a belt of hydrogen. Which means before I do anything else, I want to decommission this build. So this build has a lot of refined oil feeding into our plastic. That's perfectly fine. It also has hydrogen feeding into red science, which means in theory, and this should be the best part about this, I should be able to literally cut off that belt to stop feeding it fresh oil. And we should be able to just take that belt, feed that in there, that belt, feed that in there, and that belt and feed that in there. And that should take all the existing oil that I have, feed it straight into this tower, and at the same time should let this burn through whatever's left. We have a significant buffer for hydrogen before we run out of hydrogen. We have a significant buffer for refined oil before we run out of refined oil, which means that should take over that system. Also means when this runs out of plastic, it's literally a case of changing this from local supply to local demand, and the bots will fly the plastic that is not in there because I haven't turned that on. Plastic. Fly the plastic from this tower to that tower? That tower. And it'll take care of that system. Okay, so with all that done, that's our first project. Little project up and done, which means we are producing a lot of refined oil, which is probably good because we have power issues once again. Now, what I want to do with that refined oil is I want to make sure that we're prioritizing it into this build first. Now, I have a couple of options here. I could go and build a carbon nanotube build, okay? I could go through the process of getting some graphene, well, making some graphene with some acid and some energetic graphite to make graphene, to then make us carbon nanotubes to fix our carbon nanotube problem. And I could do that from refined oil. Very, very possible. The other thing I could do is just burn this stuff off. Because right at the moment, I'd prefer to have some extra power. A lot of extra power. Now you might say, JD, but oil's now a finite material. Shouldn't you be worried about burning off? Yeah, not really. Not really. If we go over, actually, let's just fly there. Let's fly there. Let's fly to our very first oil seep. The one we started the game with. The very first one we tapped. The one that we actually started the episode on. This little bad boy here. This little bad boy here. We can see we're 41 hours into this playthrough. I guess I got oil up and running by about hour 3 or 4. I don't know. Go back and check the second or third episode to confirm. But we started off, this was like a 3 per second. It wasn't super great, but it was pretty good. It's down to 0.3 per second. And it's going to halve in the next 11 hours. It'll be half as effective again. So it's going to be down to 1.5. Well, 1.65. 1.65. Now, I'm not sure. And the only way to know is to test it to find out. Which is sort of what I'm going to be doing for you guys. In the upgrade section, we have a mining speed of 150%. On top of that, we have an ore consumption per miner product. Okay? So for every 1 oil I pull out of the machine, or 1 ore I put on a belt, okay, rather than using 1 ore out of the ground, I'm actually using 73.39% of an ore out of the ground, or an oil in a thingamajiggy bomb at the same time. And this is probably the best way to explain this. If I pull this out, power's dodgy. Makes it hard to explain. Actually, no. That's probably easy to explain. Okay, let's go to the one coal node that could. The one coal node that could. And can I isolate you from the power grid? Two wind turbines. Okay, you're running at full speed. Okay, so we can see he's doing 45 ore per second from 1 node. Okay, but when you start off the game, it's actually 30 ore per minute from every single node. So if we go click on one of these guys and I empty him out, it's going to be much higher because he's covering multiple veins. Okay, he's covering 5 veins. This guy's covering 1. Because we have that 150% boost, it means rather than doing 30, it's doing 45. So 30, 45, 25, whatever. It's going much faster. It's going much faster than normal. That's the bottom line I'm getting at. At the same time, the nodes are lasting a lot longer because I have done the research to have less ore consumed per mined product. Okay, a lot of research to get there. So what we're going to do is we are going to test the theory. Cool, I'm burning off odds and ends because we're out of actual fuel. We're going to test the theory. In theory, these drop down to 0.1 per second. But I'm wondering, because I have those researchers, whether it's going to be 0.1 per second or it's going to be 0.15 per second because I have that 50% boosted speed. We don't know. The only way to know is to mine this dry. So we're going to process all the oil, all of it, and we're going to turn anything excess into power, mainly because I can. At the same time, it should fix the brand new power problem that we just made ourselves by, sucking down just a little bit too much juice running that many oil refineries non-stop. So, okay, let's start there, drag across, tab these boys out. And I think I can run at least 4 deep. Maybe I can't, maybe I can, we don't know. We're going to put them down and see if they work. Okay, that lines up. I don't think I can run nearly that many. Alright, so that should run in and out. The same thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run into there twice. Basically, so the tanks can empty faster than they can fill up. And yeah, they're all mostly running. And power load back down to 95%. Now, something else I want to do this episode, but I'm going to do it off camera because it's going to be pretty boring. We've been through it once. Is I want to take our existing... Actually, let's just fly over there. Fly over. Tanks. I want to take my existing deuterium build. And I basically... Cool. I basically want to build storage tanks right through these ships. I might just remove the top ones. I want to take this existing build and I just want to basically duplicate it over there. We're going to stop using this hydrogen. We're going to let it burn off into red science. It means we do need to in the future do something about red science. But yeah, I want to basically dismantle this and build it over here off the new refineries. Now, one thing I do want to fit into this episode is probably a new deuterium build. So where deuterium fuel rod build that is. So we're going to assume we're going to make deuterium in like this sort of area, which means I'm going to put my tower here, right behind this oil. And we want to make deuterium fuel rods. Now, even with the recipe change, the only big difference is I now need multiple belts of deuterium to feed the amount of fuel rod machines I'd like to make. So I want to have those, which is going to require that. It's also going to require super magnetic rings. It's also going to require those. Okay, so we're going to bring out that. We're going to bring out that. Production, one of these right here. I want to have 2 belts of deuterium. Okay, so you're going to be an input, and an output. You shall be an input and an input. You, sir, shall make those things. And can we extend that? Okay, so to simplify the recipe, we need 1, 20, and 1. So if I have 2 belts moving deuterium, because we need a lot more deuterium than we need the other things, it means I should be able to make a fairly long build and have both the other 2 items be fed on a single belt, a return belt, all by itself, and we'll just have 2 belts of the actual deuterium itself. At least that's the plan. Foundations, there we go. Make that smaller. I just need to fill in this middle bit where the building's actually going to sit. I was hoping to leave some of that water, but okay, sure. So grab that, drag that. That is 15 machines. I'd like around about 20. That'll be 20, 22, 24. Sure, let's do it 25. There, and there. Okay. 25 machines. 25 machines should be heaps, should be plenty. He says, knowing full well that, you know, come back in like 20 hours or so, we'll probably find the whole build's dried up because it was not heaps, it was not plenty, and I managed to use it all faster than I could make it. There to there to there. Power, more power, more power, and more power. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that you have warpers. Sir, you want 100. You need little shippies, plus you're going to need big shippies. You're going to remote demand, and we're already 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Wow. Wow. But I didn't think we'd have any. I assumed this would have used it all. Oh, there's 10,000 in there. No, the build was just never big enough. Okay, cool. Alright, so what we're going to do is I want to bring deuterium out and fit it in there. I want to bring deuterium out and feed it in there. The only difference is I want to have that go up a tile. Bring that in there and that down to there. And can I do the same for endpoint? Must be horizontal. So my catch is I want to be able to sideload both of these with a supplement. Okay, let's do some belt trickery. We want to bring this out one tile. Then I want to take it up to there. Then I want to take it sideways. And then I want a belt that's one raised to come in here. Cool. That's two raised, but we get the point. Alright, I want to, yeah, I need to crack this deuterium, and then after it's cracked, you know, turn it into... After it's processed, the hydrogen is processed into deuterium, I want to sideload it, so if we ever run out of deuterium from the gas giants, we should be fine. We need to local... No, actually, you're a remote, you're a local, and you're 100%. And that's actually that build done. Okay, so I still need to build this. On top of that, there's one other thing I want to do. They're all burning. They are all burning. And is this going up or down? 284, 283, so it's going down. Excellent. So we are burning off faster than we're making it. Okay, the next thing I want to do, very, very quickly, is another power plant. We produce about half as much fuel, but it has about twice the fuel value. From memory, do I have hydrogen? That's deuterium. From memory, 4.5 compared to 9 megajoules. Yes, so we produce half as much hydrogen as we do refined oil, but it does have twice the fuel value. So I basically need to double this. So we're going to take that. I'm going to start there. I'm going to drag you along. Cool. And then I want to go back 4 deep. 1, 2, 3. So it's 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. And like that, power is solved. At the same time, we are going to be burning off materials as fast as we're making them. Oil is going to be going flat out. It means that oil extractor that we looked at the start will halve in another 11 hours. So in 11 hours, it'll get down to 1.5%. So in about 15 hours, or 1.6%. So in about 13, 14 hours, we can find out if it actually is going to go under 1.5. So all I need to do is set a priority there, and yes, go build a whole bunch of fractionators. We are bleeding out these a little bit to fill up these, which I'm probably about to turn off. Yeah, we're going to go pick up all these fractionators, but I'll do that between episodes. So, we fixed the oil problem. It hasn't really fixed our carbon nanotube problem. Our carbon nanotube problem, we have two choices. We can either build some sort of temporary build, or we can ignore it and let it tick over for a little bit and just skip straight on to antimatter fuel rods. We're going to be skipping straight on to antimatter fuel rods. I'm hoping that is the play. But the other thing I've done this episode is I've made some deuterium fuel rods. A lot of them. A lot more production than we had before. Which also means there's a backup plan. Big brain move here. We can always build mini fusion plants on our water worlds because they don't take up a lot of space. And rather than producing a 2.16 megawatts worth of power, these guys do 9 megawatts worth of power. Much, much more power. Which, if we have to use them on our first water worlds, we could. I would obviously prefer to use artificial stars just because of footprint-wise. Both these buildings take up about the same amount of space, except that does 9 megawatts, that does 72 megawatts. Big change. Anyway, with all that said, this is what I'm going to call today's episode. Tomorrow's episode, I have a feeling we're going to go look at a water world. A water worlds, you know, with Kevin Costner. Yeah, alright, that's it. We're out. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the very next episode. Alright, bye.